Brought to you by the Dark Lord himself, Qezi Ali. The Roman Blueprint. Rome ruled the known world for 5 centuries. Its silver coin, the denarius, contained 4.5 grams of pure silver and was trusted everywhere from Britain to Egypt. For 200 years it held its value, until the spending began. Emperor Nero reduced the silver content to 90% to fund palaces and legions. Caracalla cut it to 50%. By the year 265 AD, the denarius was just 5% silver, a shiny piece of junk. Prices rose 50-fold. Farmers stopped selling food for coins. Soldiers demanded gold or goods. By the time Rome's money died, the empire's economy died with it. The legions that once conquered the world couldn't even be paid. The collapse wasn't military, it was mathematical. Spain, drowning in silver. Jump ahead more than 1,000 years. After Columbus reached the Americas, Spain seized the richest gold and silver mines on earth. From 1550 to 1600, Spanish galleons carried home over 400 tons of silver every year. They controlled half the world's precious metal supply, and believed it made them invincible. King Philip II fought wars on 4 continents at once: the Mediterranean, the Netherlands, France, and England. Half of Spain's revenue went to the military, yet it was never enough. To pay the bills, they debased the coinage, mixing copper into silver until merchants refused it. Inflation exploded. Then came the debt spiral. Spain borrowed from every banker in Europe, and defaulted 4 times in 40 years. By 1600, the nation that owned the world's gold couldn't feed itself. Manufacturing collapsed. The best mines fled to France and England. By 1700, the Spanish Empire was a hollow shell, still vast on paper, but economically dead. Britain, the empire where the sun never set. By 1900, Britain ruled 1/4 of the planet, 400 million people on 6 continents. The pound sterling was the global reserve currency. Then came World War I, $1 trillion bloodletting in today's money. Britain won the war but lost its solvency. Debt to the United States soared. Gold reserves were cut in half. In 1925, they tried to restore the pre-war gold value of the pound. It was overvalued by about 15%. Exports crashed, unemployment soared. By 1931, they abandoned gold and the pound lost 1/4 of its value overnight. World War II finished the job. Debt reached 270% of gross domestic product. In 1944, Bretton Woods replaced the pound with the US dollar as the new global reserve. Within 20 years, the empire vanished: India in 1947, Egypt in 1956, Africa through the 60s. By the 1970s, inflation hit 25%, the International Monetary Fund was bailing them out, and the workshop of the world became a museum of its former greatness. The Soviet Union collapsed without a war. After 1945, the USSR looked unstoppable. Nuclear arsenal, satellites, global ideology. But they spent 15 to 20% of their economy on the military, triple the American share. Factories produced junk, farms failed, innovation died. By the 1980s, a superpower with the richest farmland on earth was importing grain. Oil prices fell, gold reserves drained, and in just 900 days it was over. From the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 to December of 1991, the Soviet Union ceased to exist. No invasion. Just economic implosion. The United States, the empire of debt. Now, look in the mirror. The United States maintains over 750 bases in 80 countries and spends about $850 billion a year on defense, more than the next 10 nations combined. We borrow to pay for it, running $1.8 trillion deficits even during peacetime. Total national debt, $36 trillion, roughly $300,000 per household. Interest payments alone will hit $1 trillion this year, larger than the defense budget itself. That's a debt spiral. Since Nixon closed the gold window in 1971, the dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power. The money supply has increased 400% since 2000, 6 trillion printed since 2020. We're not mixing copper into coins, we're printing digital paper. Different mechanism, same result. Meanwhile, the United States imports $800 billion more than it exports every year. We depend on foreign nations for medicine, electronics, even weapon components. Like Spain, the wealth flows through us, not to us. Socially, the cracks are everywhere: crime up. Overdoses topping 100,000 deaths a year. Homelessness at record highs. Trust in government at record lows. We're deep in stage 5, social decay. Stage 6 will be the loss of reserve currency status. BRICS nations already trade in local currencies. Central banks are buying gold at the fastest pace since 1967. When the dollar's global demand disappears, trillions will flood back home, igniting the final stage, collapse. When it comes, it won't be gradual. It'll be a chain reaction, currency crisis, debt crisis, political crisis. The same math that ended other empires before us. The death of American capitalism. But the pattern runs deeper than empire. The foundation itself, capitalism, is cracking. The American dream once meant a steady job, a modest home, and a hopeful future. Today, the median household carries about $90,000 in debt. Half of Americans say their income hasn't kept pace with inflation. First-time homebuyers now make up just 24% of sales, half the 2010 share. And homelessness has surged 18% in 1 year to roughly 771,000 people, including 150,000 children. Childcare averages $1,000 to $2,000 a month per child. 1 in 5 people over 65 is still working because they can't afford to stop. Teachers in many states earn 5% less, adjusted for inflation, than a decade ago. Meanwhile, the richest Americans made a killing. During the pandemic, US billionaires added $2 trillion in wealth. The top 1% now own half of all stocks, up from 40% 20 years ago. When the stock market booms, it's their boom, not ours. Corporations spend $4.4 billion a year lobbying Congress to protect tax loopholes and weaken labor laws. They buy back their own stock to inflate value, merge to crush competition, and exploit gig economy loopholes to avoid benefits. Nearly 64 million Americans, 38% of the workforce, now freelance or contract, trading stability for survival. This isn't free market capitalism anymore. It's corporate feudalism, a world where the wealthy own the data, the platforms, and the rules, while everyone else rents their existence one paycheck at a time. The pattern never lies. Rome debased its silver to pay its armies. Spain drowned in silver and debt. Britain borrowed itself into bankruptcy. The Soviet Union collapsed under stagnation. Now the United States is printing trillions, exporting production, importing everything, and pretending it's different. 4 empires fell to the same math. The 5th is standing on the same edge, with capitalism itself corroding from within. Maybe the fall will be slow like Britain's, a century of managed decline. Maybe it'll be sudden like Rome's, a single shock that ends the illusion overnight. Or maybe we'll get a reset, a new digital reserve currency, a gold-backed system, or something entirely new. But the pattern says collapse is coming. Because history has never spared an empire that believed it was special. You can't print prosperity. You can't borrow forever. And you can't debase your currency, or your society, without consequence. The American empire isn't unique. It's just next. If this opened your eyes to where we truly are in history's sequence, subscribe, because when stages 6 and 7 arrive, you'll want to understand what happened, and why. The answers aren't hiding in the future. They're written in the past. And the pattern never lies. Kwesi Ali, the man, the myth, the legend. The icon aka the Dark Lord. Hashtag Revolution 2025 Hashtag Chaos Rising 2025 Hashtag Southpaw Rebellion 2025 Hashtag Economy Collapse 2025 Hashtag America Falling Hashtag History Repeats